Ag PhD full episodes and more are now available on Acres TV, the newest ag platform connecting you to fields of information. Look for us on watchacrestv.com.
Our grandpa, who farmed some of the ground that we currently farm today, he didn't have no-till, he didn't have some planter that could go plant into no-till, he didn't have great herbicides or insecticides or fungicides. The only thing that he could really do to control weeds, insects, diseases, get the seedbed ready was lots of tillage. Well, with hilly ground, how are you going to manage that? Today we're going to talk during our Farm Basics time about terraces and farming on the contour.
Well, when you see fields with lots of slope in them, often you see little breaks in the action or terraces designed to slow the flow of water down and perhaps catch any soil that might be washing with a big rain or something like that. We've got some terraces on our farm, and first of all, you might think, well, that's a great idea. Yes, but it is a little tricky to farm around them, and they're not without maintenance because you get one of those earth-shattering rains that, oh no, here comes 10 inches in 24 hours that happened this past year on our farm. Boy, even a terrace isn't going to be able to hold up to that.
Well, we didn't have 10 inches in 24 hours. It was more like 10 inches over a couple of weeks, but whatever it is, big rains, little rains, the whole point is this, and where I was going with our grandpa and that story is, some of our slopes are not very great, but he still put terraces in because he didn't want any soil leaving his field. Well, today with no-till or even strip-till, we can dramatically reduce soil erosion, and we don't have to have terraces in every spot that he had them in. But when we talk about terraces, and so Darren talked about kind of catching dirt as it goes down the hill, this is also part of the reason why we want to what they call farm on the contour. So in other words, we're farming around the hills rather than going straight up and down the hills. When you go up and down the hills, it's a lot easier for water to hit that row and just wash things out.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And we see that in any little depression out in our fields where there's just a slight amount of slope. If we're farming against the grain, it slows things down, and we just don't see the issues with erosion and water creating a channel through our soils. It's a big deal, the direction that the rows face, and the challenge is hills aren't always running the same direction. Many times they're running every which way, so farmers have to pick and choose, well, which one's going to be the best for me to accomplish the purposes we're trying to do.
One of the biggest challenges as our farm equipment got bigger was how do we manage these terraces, because some of the terraces, it just didn't work very well for our 120-foot spray boom and our 60-foot wide planter. And just imagine some of the farmers that have 90-foot wide planters. Well, in between the terraces wasn't even that wide in some cases on our farm. So we had to get rid of some of the terraces. We had to farm over the top, just driving over the top of some of the terraces before we took a couple of them out and modified them. So yeah, it can create some problems if these terraces were created 50, 60 years ago when everybody was farming with little equipment compared to what they have today.
Well, there are a lot of strategies farmers use to raise the best crops, but also many strategies they're using to protect their soils and protect their fields. Terraces and farming on the contour are a couple of those strategies they use. Well, one other thing that farmers are always concerned about is controlling weeds like our weed of the week. Can you identify this week's weed?